Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinion.
Sanders, a name you can trust. With over 20 years of real estate experience and selling over 150 homes a year, Laura Sanders is the #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of Florida for 2021. Join us each week as we discuss how to make money through buying and flipping homes, to renting versus selling, and everything in between. To join the conversation, call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. So every week we try to get to some kind of topic that's going to help you make some money in one way or another. That is my goal, to help you make money. So with that being said, tonight we're going to talk about home affordability and where that puts you in this whole entire market. So we have Max Fisch tonight with us. So
Thank you so
Max.
much for having me. Thank you.
And just want to let everybody know, we are live streaming right now. So if you would like to call in at 1-888-994-4995, again, that's 1-888-994-4995. We'll be happy to answer your questions, or Max will be happy to answer your questions.
Absolutely.
Any mortgage,
Absolutely.
any real estate questions. So we're seeing a little bit of change in the market.
Sure, absolutely we are. And we were just talking about it right before we went on air about kind of affordability and where we are in relation to the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. You were sharing with me some things that you're seeing with the home prices. Let's just use $500,000 for example. What were you?
Well,
were
it's funny. We were talking about $500,000, and then we're also talking about $800,000,
sure,
right?
Sure.
And the numbers seem to work the same, whether it's 5 or 8. What the percentage seems to fall. Obviously, certain areas will fall a little more than other areas. Definitely seeing a lot more luxury homes coming to market.
Yeah.
That's the biggest, to me, that has been the biggest amount of inventory that's been available that I personally see. I am a top agent, so I'm in the market every single day.
Yeah.
Most people that do it, if you don't really get in it, you don't really know what's going on,
sure.
right? My favorite customer is the one that's only bought one house in 30 years, and you know, it's, you just don't understand it. It's very hard, and that's why you need an expert to explain it. Just like when you're explaining to somebody what makes the most sense to get a mortgage and what would make sense to make it affordable.
Yeah.
Well, one of the greatest things that came available recently has been the there's a 1-1, 2-1, and a 3-1 buy down.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be the best thing to talk to our listeners about tonight.
Sure. Well, just like you said, like with real estate, things are forever changing, right?
Yes.
With the client that has only bought the home one time in the past 30 years, they are shocked about where we are in the mortgage industry today.
Yeah.
Right? It's completely different from year to year.
All the papers you're asking for?
Yeah, all the papers, all the documentation, but
when I bought my first, not my first, but my real house when I was super young, I got my mortgage from AmTrust Bank. I did not give them anything other than they knew me. No, they knew me.
Yeah.
But that was a really long time ago. Like, I look a little younger than what I am, but it was a really long time ago, and it was based on relationships.
Yeah.
And
as long as they knew your first and last name.
Yeah.
Now it's like, they were giving you a loan.
Can I get, if you own rental property, I want every single declaration page of your insurance.
Sure.
I want to see every single bank account. If you give, people, don't give all your bank accounts if you don't need it. Like, if you have a bank account with $100 in it, don't give it to them, because you deposit cash in your account. Now they want to know where it came from. Now you got to write a letter of
explanation. So just to piggyback off of that, things are forever changing, right? And they're so much different now than they even were 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 10 months ago. And to speak on what you mentioned, there are different programs now to make housing payments more affordable. But really, it's about perspective, guys. And one thing I want to share with everybody is that when rates went from 3 to 5%, everybody was freaking out that they didn't want a 5%.
Should have bought at 5.
But now that rates have gone from 7%, and guys, I would caution you to listen to local professionals rather than the national media, because rates are not at 7% anymore. They're in the mid fives. And so we're looking at the difference between 7% 3 months ago to 5.5% now. And now people are loving 5.5% rate when they find that out. So it's all perspective. It's about looking at the glass half full rather than half empty. And just to put that into numbers perspective for you, if at the height of the market, if you could get a house at $500,000 at a 3% rate, that's almost an identical payment at $400,000 with a 5.5% rate.
Okay.
And so we just have to view it as, in the way that I'm telling my clients to view it, is you're securing a house that was more expensive just within the past few years. You're securing it at a lower price, which you can't change what you paid for a house, but you can change the interest rate and take advantage of when the market inevitably drops again, because it will.
Well, let's look at it like this. So you have a house. You put it on the market back last year. This time last year was wacky.
Yeah.
It actually was starting to get closer to where it stopped. But let's go back to like December of last year.
Sure.
Okay?
2021.
2021, right?
Yeah.
December 2021, right.
Yeah.
So let's go back, so that's a year ago. Go back to December 2021. I put my house on the market, I list it for $600, I get $650.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
It's pretty much what happened, and that's what
100%.
realtors are doing. They're telling them, okay, put your house on the market. So where are you going? Where are you going?
Yeah, it was tough.
So now you're going to go somewhere. You cannot feel stressed about making an offer, because if you're getting $50,000 more on your house, you're going to pay them $50,000 more on their house.
Yeah.
So, you know,
it was
it's
kind
all
of a wash.
Isn't it relative?
Yeah, of course it
So
is.
the people that are worried about the market, I think that they should. I think the market is specific to you, and if you need a place to live, I think that you shouldn't worry about.
Absolutely. And if you're waiting for prices to continue to dip, mortgage applications just in the past week were up 28%.
Oh, wow.
And so that's a result of the rates coming back down into the fives. And with would you consider still low inventory? Would you consider that there's still
I think in certain areas
in relation, right?
Yeah, it's still low, right? Which, you know, bottom line is that if rates go down, what is everybody going to do?
There's higher demand and prices go up.
Exactly. So it's like, what did I say?
Yeah.
You're going to marry the house.
And date the interest rate.
And you're going to date the rate. And that's why I said to you, let's talk about the 1-1, 2-1, 3-1 buy down. And
sorry, I got sidetracked.
Yeah, that's okay. It's all right. You're a millennial. I got it. It's all right. So anyway, just kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry. So let's talk about that.
Sure.
Because I think that is an awesome program, but I think that it really needs to be explained in detail so that our listeners understand why that should bring them back to the plate to buy right now.
Sure. So there's 3 options that are available in regard to a seller paid rate buy down, which I'll explain a little bit more what that means. Temporary rate buy down. There's 1-0, 1-0, 2-1, 2-1 rate buy down, and then a 3-2-1 rate buy down. And what those are they're paid by the seller, so you negotiate that up front with Laura. you buy with Laura and you negotiate that up front. And it's a certain amount determined by the lender, right? So depending on the loan amount, it can change what the seller concession needs to be. By seller concession, I mean what the seller is giving to you towards your temporary rate buy down. And what it means is, depending on which one you do, let's just use the 2-1 for example, and it applies to all 3. In a 2-1 rate buy down, the first year your interest rate is 2% lower than the starting rate. So we'll use round numbers. Let's say it's 6% to start. The first year it's going to be 4%.
Right.
The second year it's going to be
It's pretty substantial.
Yeah, that's like $950 a month.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's 2% lower. Then the next year,
12. I mean, that's money to redo the floors.
Exactly.
When that house needs work.
Sure. And then the next year, it's 1% lower. And then it doesn't go back to the 6% until the 3rd year, the 25th month. And it stays at 6%. It's not an adjustable rate mortgage that a lot of people think it is. It's just a temporary buy down for the first 2 years.
That's the 2-year one, right?
Yeah, that's the 2-year. The 1-0-1 works the same way. It's 1% lower for the first year, and then it goes back to the normal. 3-2-1, so on and so forth.
I mean,
yeah,
it's a fixed rate. So you don't have to worry about, well, after this first year, where's it going to go? It's going to be exactly 1 point higher on whatever was agreed upon in the original disclosures.
Now, the cool part about it that a lot of people don't know is what the seller is giving you towards this rate buy down goes into a pot. Okay, let's just call it a imaginary pot or account.
Yeah.
If you refinance within that period,
used, yeah.
before all of that concession has been used, let's say you refinance in month 18
of the 2 years.
of the 24,
yeah,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, let's say you refi in month 18 and you haven't used that entire seller concession, that money goes back to you. It's credited towards maybe your refinance. It's credited
the
towards.
Are probably like, does that come back to me? Come back to me?
Yeah, it's credited towards your rate buy down or your principal that you owe. If there's $5,000 left in that pot.
Oh, so that would actually then cover closing costs.
Yeah, if there's $5,000 left in that pot, it could go towards your refinance costs,
Okay.
or it could go towards paying down your principal balance. Either way.
So, do you have anything though where you're offering, your company might offer, and I don't know, I'm just asking,
Sure.
like where they would offer a free 1 year buy down?
A free so any of those 1-0, 2-1, 3-2-1, they're all paid from the seller. That's the point of it,
Right.
because it can't be paid by the buyer, right? In any scenario. Now, what we are offering is completely free of any bank costs refinances for returning clients.
Okay.
So whether that's underwriting fees, processing fees, credit reports, appraisals, all of that will be completely erased
So what
for
you
a
would have
potential
to
refinance.
pay is like your doc stamps, but they would be
Yeah.
discounted because you're doing it within a short time
Correct,
span.
and title company
Yeah.
fees and things like that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So yeah, that makes total sense. So
Yeah.
I think that getting educated the right way is going to help people to work through what they feel is like, oh, this is a horrible market. It's like, it's
Sure.
really not.
No.
Nothing's worse, in my opinion, than what we just went through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as realtors, we have to work harder now than ever before. Like I primarily do more listings than I do buyers, and I mean,
Yeah.
I have to work harder now than I did before.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, people that are looking for a perfect real estate market, I mean, there might be a 30 to 60 day span over history where it's like absolutely rates are super low and prices are super low. But for the most part, like we just mentioned, if rates come down, prices go up. If rates go up, prices come down, right? So we have to, the numbers speak for themselves, right? And so at the end of the day, prices have come down a bit since, in the past few years.
Right.
Now they're down a bit. Rates are up. But if we look at it in perspective, the affordability is still there.
And doesn't it feel better when you're buying a house that you can actually negotiate the rate? Like, to me, that's
Sure.
like, negotiate like the price. Like, it sucks when you're like, okay, should I offer 10 over, 20 over? Like, I mean, I went through this with clients, and it's like, when it first started, I was like, more than 5 or 10 over. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
50, 100? I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it. And then I was like, okay, I guess we're all doing this. And then I interviewed buyers and said, hey, if you're not willing to do X, I can't take you out.
Yeah, of course.
It was a waste of time.
Yeah, and we are in a really good market for first-time home buyers, in my opinion, because the first-time home buyers that have 3% down in closing costs, in the past couple of years, it's been hard because everybody's paying $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over appraised value.
Yeah, and
they
come up with
couldn't.
that when it's
yeah,
3.5% down FHA.
and people just didn't have that money, understandably so. Now it's not only the fact that your interest rate maybe is slightly higher and you're getting the property at a discount compared to the past couple of years, but there's a lot of scenarios with a lot of my clients with great real estate agents, such as yourself, that are negotiating that the seller pays for their closing costs.
Yeah, and I tell
And so
people,
that's another cost that needs to be factored in. Yeah, you have a higher interest rate, but it needs to be factored into the scenario of saying, I'm buying a house and the only money I'm putting down is towards equity, no costs.
Right. And I have another great question, but I think we're going to need to go to commercial
Sure.
break. And when we come back from commercial, we're going to go ahead and talk about what I think is a really good question to ask you about that.
Okay, awesome.
Before I forget, I'm getting too old for this.
Title Brothers LLC, our mission is to give you the best closing experience anywhere in the country. Founded in 2020 by Adam Lohman and Josh Wiseman, here at Title Brothers, we're your one-stop shop for residential real estate, title insurance, title and escrow services, real estate closing, and due diligence services. While primarily located in South Florida, we also host dozens of closings throughout the state and even electronically as requested. To contact the Title Brothers, call us at 954-995-5400 4988 or visit our website and get a quick quote today.
Whether you're buying, selling, refinancing, or building your dream home, you have a lot riding on your loan specialist. Max Fisch, a top 1% mortgage loan officer in the nation, will give you a same-day qualifying quote. Max Fisch is committed to providing his customers with mortgage services that exceed their expectations. Ensuring that you make the right choice for you and your family is his ultimate goal. Contact Max Fisch today at 954-729-6933 or max.fisch@nwmcorp.net.
You have been watching Making Money with Laura. For more information, contact Laura Sanders at 954-650-0827 or visit her website at theloracell.com. And now back to the show.
Welcome back to Making Money with Laura Sanders, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. I'm here with Max Fisch, and he is a mortgage lender, and we are talking about what you need to know in order to buy a home in this market and how to get the best deal possible. So I was saying that there was a question that I had to ask you, and one of the things that most people don't understand is, and this has happened in the past, and I had a client that needed a roof. Mm-hmm. And a roof can be like $40-something thousand.
Sure.
A lender is not going to allow, typically, the most you can ever get is 6%, the most. And that depends on the loan program. Am I right?
Well, 9% for conventional, if you're
Since
putting
when?
down more than 25%.
When did that start happening? That's
Yeah, it's
great.
just been around, 9% for conventional if you're putting down more than 25%.
Okay, so 9% of, let's use something easy, a $400,000 house, right?
Yeah.
That's $45,000. So that would cover the roof.
Yes. So, well, that's 36,000. But
Right,
yes,
30,
it
yeah.
would.
I mean, I'm
yeah.
saying that should cover the roof.
Uh-huh.
Bad math. I know how to do math. Mr. Turkle Tab in the 5th grade and the whole tax thing. Anyway, so...
yes, it would cover.
Okay, that in that case. But if the loan doesn't allow, because a lot of our buyers are not 25% down.
Sure.
Most people are under the misconception that you have to buy homes with 20% down.
Correct.
I had somebody one day and I told them, I'm like, you can buy a house with 5% down. You could buy $1 million house with 5% down.
With little money down. Yeah.
Probably best bet would be at least 10.
Yeah, at least 10.
But you could do it with 5. So if on $1 million house, they wanted to buy, they could do the buy down program, right? And then later on, that money would be, they would be saving every month to put that roof on when it's needed in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
They could put that money in the bank account that was paid, plus get closing costs. So on a 5% down loan program, what's the max amount of closing costs that somebody can get?
So for conventional, 5% down, the maximum you can get is 3%.
Okay.
Now the key to that is, and I'm going through it right now with a client, is that even if you get the 3%, it can only cover closing costs. So if closing costs,
or less
if 3% is $15,000 and closing costs are $13,000, there's an excess of $2,000 there.
And you will not get it. It's against the law to give it to you.
You can use it to buy down your rate, but you can't use it towards your down payment. The seller is not allowed to pay for your down payment. You have to come with down payment money.
Okay.
And so that's really key in negotiating, in understanding that dynamic as well. Because you might be going with a lender such as myself that's not going to charge you a ton of fees, right? And your closing costs aren't that high. And you might be getting an excess of seller concession, right? That you can then use, the overlap you can use for a rate buy down.
Before the market crash in 2005, people were getting 0% down loan programs. Do we have that besides VA? VA is for veterans.
Yeah.
They have 0%, but do we have 0% down for other people
FHA,
now?
yeah. I mean, there's down payment assistant programs.
That's different.
Yeah, it's technically
So
not 0%.
You have to go to a class and you need to get approved by the city.
Exactly.
And they have certain parameters of places you need to be.
Correct.
I'm talking about, do you have, or is there, or is that specialized that maybe some people have, like Veterans United were giving that to other people.
Navy Federal Credit Union.
Yeah, Navy Federal was giving that out.
If you had a family member that was maybe in the military and that's how you have an account, because typically the only people that can have accounts with them are former military or veterans, right? But if you had a family member, sometimes they honor those types of programs as far as 0% down. But universally speaking, no. Other than VA, very little programs are available with 0% down. And the only ones that are those specific ones.
Have you recently this year, because every year things change, you know, calendar year, fiscal year, how does the SHIP program work? Does it work from January to December for their fiscal year?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
and have you this year, this like whole 3 weeks, have you spoken to the SHIP program to see if they have any monies available right now in most cities?
Yeah, not this year to date.
Okay.
Yeah, not this year yet. Typically, there's a little bit of overlap and a little bit of time period that, you know, they're still gathering their data for the upcoming fiscal year. But as
they
of
had no money in December. They
no,
had
no,
run
they
out.
were out. Yep.
They
Yep.
had run out.
But as of yet, they haven't come out with that
right.
budget
They
yet.
had some money in Boca, but then the house that I had found for the client was in unincorporated Boca.
Oh, yeah.
So it didn't work out. So I'm like, how do you, Laura, do you find the only 2 streets that are incorporated Boca? So with that being said, I think that is definitely the next time you and I meet, I think we need to talk for our listeners to talk about the SHIP program, because I think that people are not aware of these programs, and people are always asking, where can we get these? And when we're talking about down payment, we're talking about $50,000.
Yeah.
We're not, and so when you have $50,000, you're not going to have mortgage insurance. So right there, where the payment is not affordable. So like, this is perfect for Danielle's son, right? Or somebody. Like, this is perfect for people that need that money to bring that payment to an affordable amount. So if you are interested in that program, we're definitely here to talk to you. You know, you can always give myself a call at 954-650-0827. I mean, it's really small there. Like, even I can't see it, but it's there. Max, and if people are looking to get a hold of you, what is the best number for people to get a hold of you?
Sure. So I try to keep myself super available by giving out my direct cell phone number. My direct cell phone number is 954-729-6933. By text, email, I get my emails to my phone, or by call. I'm available at all times during the day, and it doesn't really, I don't have to try to be available at all times of the day. It just comes naturally to me. I mean, Laura said that I am a millennial, so it does, those things do come natural to me. So yeah, you can reach me at that number.
You mean you're available 24/7, right?
24/7.
Right. So it's only the hour that you need him, he's not available. No, I'm just kidding. So, any wise words before we're going to get ready to wrap it up? Any wise words for us today?
Yeah, I think, guys, don't get caught up in the national media telling you that it's, you know, you're being priced out of the market. The numbers speak for themselves, just like we spoke about, and now is still an incredible time to buy and become a homeowner.
And I think that we can talk about at another time, you know, the tax benefits of owning a home, talking about that you're actually building, the principal is going where when you pay for rent, you're not getting anything for that.
Yes.
So, I really appreciate you coming out tonight.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for
switching
having
your
me.
schedule around to be here for us, because
Thank you for having me.
next time we're going to be talking about how to buy a car, and we're going to tell you how to make sure you don't get taken by these salespeople. They are going to take you for things that you never thought that you didn't know that they get you on. And I just did some transactions, and I tell you, I have a headache still.
Looking forward to listening.
Yes. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for listening to Making Money with Laura, and have a great night, guys.
Thank you for tuning in for Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. To join the conversation, call us at the studio, 888-994-4995 Studio A, or contact Laura directly at 954-650-0827. Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. We look forward to seeing you